The Namibian racing driver Adrian Nel adds another role to his already extensive CV, and today here on Lights Out we chat to him. Hello and welcome to Lights Out. I'm Irene Marie van der Walt, and as I've mentioned, I'll be chatting with Adrian Nel about his new role as a driver coach. We also visit the DAW racing facility with Kyle Lawrence and What's Up Buttercup, and have a look at the MSA4 series as well as a 1989 Minardi F1 car that is kept there. We'll be right back.
Elke sportnaweek het baie aksie en baie wat gebeur en baie om oor te gesels. So skakel in by Op die Telbord. Dit is Maandag 1uur. DStv kanaal 285, ook op Go TV kanaal 25. Ek gesels lekker saam met Mike Potgieter en ons gaan hoor wat die naweek gebeur het, kyk wat die naweek gebeur het, ons kyk wat op die telbord gebeur het, ook op die veld, en dan gesels ons met die afrigters en met die spelers. Ons hoor van al die aksie en waarom het gebeur het en hoe dit die volgende naweek dalk anders kan wees. So skakel in, is 'n lekker gesels. Myself, Arie Hougaard en Mike Potgieter, dis op die telbord.
Former MSA F4 driver Adrian Nel taking on a new role this year. Adrian, how are you doing?
We are well.
We? Who's we?
Well, five of my personalities, I would say.
Yeah, so I would say probably all five of your roles as well. You're
Oh,
one of those
yes,
guys
for
who does a
sure.
little bit- maybe that would have been the more PG answer.
Yes, for sure.
The more PR friendly answer. You are a Monster ambassador now. That's the sixth role.
Yes, we've added that to the resume now.
Yeah. How long is the resume? How many pages?
Oh, a driver trainer, driver, ex-driver, that still depends. We see what happens this year. Sim racer, driver coach, data, just signage and
Front and back is what I'm
and
saying.
HSEQ and yeah.
Yeah, so the newest one to the list, aside from the Monster ambassador, is a driver coach.
Yes.
Here in Namibia. How are you feeling about it?
So we did it in 2024. I had my academy and such. We ran about a few kids. We did very well with it. And then last year, I didn't take up the role completely. We did a few drivers, but I had my own driving to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, with the stuff being a bit slow and sponsors not coming through as suspected.
Aside from Monster?
Yeah. We'll get back to that. I took it back up. So this weekend, we're running Cecil Jr. and getting him ready for Champions of the Future in the UK series next weekend, and a few other kids. And then we'll grow it throughout the year. We've got a lot of new clients interested, getting them into the sport and the sport. The entries are quite well for the weekend, 27 entries. Mm-hmm. So the sport's getting back to where it was about 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. So and I'm just trying to get my knowledge I've learned and put it back into the kids and get them ready for international scene,
Yeah. So obviously, there's not a lot of driver coaches in Namibia. I would believe that you are, I think, the only one.
There's another one, KSN, Cotstal.
Oh, yes, of course.
So they also have their thing going on, but I'm like the only coach that really does data analysis, setup work, I want to say race strategy, all the work from the get-go. So, and then of course the sim stuff as well, I do that.
Yeah, but what I want to say is you're clearly one of two driver coaches now. And it's not very common. I don't think Namibia is really big enough and competitive enough for everybody on the grid to have a driver coach.
There's a lot of interest that I have, but like I say, we're developing. I'm focusing more on one kid per class almost, and then we see it from there, because I don't want to have everyone and then people get upset. So I'm focusing on one driver, getting him a good rounded driver, as from the driving aspect, fitness, PR stuff, all that. We need to focus on that. So
and what do you think makes, aside from fitness and PR stuff, what makes a well-rounded driver?
Just a driver that is willing to learn. That's something big that I've noticed. Like, you can have all the skill in the world, and it's something that me and Carl also discussed about a few weeks ago when I was with him in Benoni, is you can have a very, very talented driver, but he's not willing to craft, not to work, and then it doesn't help. You can try to teach him and he doesn't listen to you, and then it just doesn't work. So if you've got a driver that's willing to practice and willing to just listen and willing to try, he's going to be 5 steps ahead of the oak that has a talent, but he's not practicing, he's not putting in the time and effort. So and we've seen it no, I've seen it a few drivers.
Yeah. So for you as a driver coach, we had Daniel Shangarero on Lights Out last week and speaking about improved quality in our competitions in Namibia. Karting was also mentioned there, and then also more people going overseas. For you as a driver coach, what is that next step for a driver? You know, once you feel he's competitive in Namibia, where do we go from there?
So from like Sissel roughly did it like the correct way the last few years. So he went to South Africa, did a few nationals there, which I also did. Get you up to their level, because South Africa is a very good high level of motorsport. The standard's very good. And then of course now like he's doing going to Champions of the Future, and he's went to the Rock Worlds as well. Because it doesn't help you done a year of karting here and you just go to the world, you're just going to be blown out of the water. It's a totally different mindset, it's a different driving style and such. So he's doing it the correct way. He's developing himself as a driver. He's looking at the long run here. Because I know they're also looking at maybe in 2 or 3 years time, maybe going to MSAF4 or Polo Cup or something. So, you know, they're developing to that. They've got a goal they're working towards. Because most of the other drivers here, it's something that me and Guido also discussed. He also races MSAF4, and Namibian of ours. He also did karting on the world stage and such. Is that our drivers don't have the planning. They're just doing it as a hobby, which is fine and such. But I mean, if you really want to do it and pursue your dream, which most of these drivers have, like, oh, I want to race GT3 or F1 or whatever, but they don't have a goal or a roadmap to go to that. They're just driving. They don't have that. And I think Sissel and them have that currently. And I'm trying to develop that and getting my knowledge and my connections up so we can do that. Say okay, you're doing well, let's go to South Africa. Okay, you did well in the Africa Open. Okay, let's do the Worlds. Get knowledge, get going with that.
Yeah. And that's one thing I also want to discuss with you is, again, Daniel Shangarero was here last week saying these people are going internationally. You're discussing this roadmap, point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is how we get you overseas or into, you know, more competitive, higher ranks of racing. Do you feel that we have, I think, made progress in getting that world map in the past couple of years?
I've definitely think since I was the first driver, like about 12 years ago, that actually went to South Africa as a karting driver. The motocross guys have done it previously, but I was like the first karting oak that went to nationals, did nationals, got a factory drive in South Africa, and did that development. Funds unfortunately dried up. I mean, I got the offer to race in Malaysia for many years ago. Again, budget didn't allow us to do that. So we got, it's progressing. The Oaks are trying to get the kids to a high level, or drivers in general. But our biggest issue becomes back to the financing part of it. We don't have the backing always as drivers. Like, we got the skills. For instance, I got the offer to drive a full carbon LMP3 car now in South Africa, but it's 200K for one event. And I don't have the backing on my side to do that. I got the intro, I got many seats offered to me, but I don't have the backing from it. Because we don't have the corporate people aren't seeing the bigger picture always with it. They're always sponsoring other events and such. So if we can get corporate people involved to back our drivers, I know Sissel has momentum on his side, which helps a lot. But I mean, the vehicle like Pukovitz group and such, I know they say, oh, they would then get exposure and such, but they're sponsoring other athletes to go international, so why can't they be part of the motorsport world in that sense as well?
Yeah. So on that note, I think I'm going to ask you to look directly at the camera and tell our corporates why to get involved in racing.
Well, it's like any other motorsport or any other sport, it's the development of our youth. If there is, people can see that we're putting money into the kids and developing them and growing them as people themselves through the sport and giving them the opportunity to maybe go international, get a paid drive and such. It's like any other sport that we have. Like, look at the cricket, how well the cricket's doing because they got the backing and they got the exposure, and that's the thing we need from our side as well in the motorsport world. I mean, I went to the FI Motorsport Games. I'm the first Namibian athlete to do that for motorsport. Go to the world stage was. And I always backed that out of my own pocket. And it would really help if we get the motor, especially the motor group. It's in your industry. It's we can promote your brand. I mean, like M&Z's doing it with their Jack Buckies and such. Get let's say Hyundai or Toyota. They have a academy in South Africa. Why can't we do something like this? Even on a smaller scale, like we have one development car and one main car for main circuit, or one have a karting team that 2 kids are driving there. Look, it's a lot of money, but I mean, you can write it off on tax and such, and it's good exposure for you, putting back into the community. We do a development program to get kids out of the north to expose motorsport and sport in the north of the country. It will definitely. We're a motoring country. That's the thing. We drive, and the people love cars. So why can't we do it? They should be interested in this.
Okay, and then I want to ask you again, still on funding. I think before you went to South Africa for karting, it was very misty out ahead of you. There wasn't really, I don't think you could see very far ahead of you how this was going to work. Do you think that we can now begin to see where funding might come from for African drivers?
Like I know War and them are busy with the karting Africa. They got their own chassis going now, and there's a lot of support on that side as well. So I think they are more, almost like the FIA are stepping in now to assist and such. And then your big corporate companies are also like outside of Namibia and Africa are trying to see what they can assist. So the interest is growing. So it's not a lost cause. We can do this in the sense of getting I mean, there's numerous amount of South Africans now racing in GT World Challenge, Sheldon and Calvin and those oaks. I mean, we've got the class of the field. It's the drivers. I saw it this weekend in MSA4. Michael Besenot, which I raced against and came second in the championship. Makil Alabai raced in the UK as a South African oak. He raced in the UK F4 and he raced the Indian championship and he blew the oak's doors off. And the South African talent is there. I'm saying South African, but the African talent is there. So we can do it if we get the sponsorship and we can get the backing and I think the PR, the mindset of the people. If we can change that to invest in the sport, we will see definitely we can get I wouldn't say a F1 driver maybe in 10 years, maybe 15 years, you don't know. But definitely into GT3 or World Challenge or Nürburgring 24 hours, we can definitely get drivers there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and one of the topics of discussion when we talk about funding racing drivers and having them go overseas is exchange rates. You know, and that African countries and multinational African countries maybe aren't as financially strong to be able to fund somebody in euros. Do you think that to be the case?
That is, like, racing in Europe is massively expensive. Like, just the F4 seat in the UK is about 18 million rand for the season. That's excluding damages to the car and such. A Porsche Cup is the same budget. I mean, we're talking about millions, like €1 million. So that's 20 million rand, or Namibian dollar, if I must say that. So it is difficult for that amount of money to come out of Africa. I know there's money in Africa, that's not what I'm saying, but to justify that for going to Europe and such. But I think if we got the right vision and the right PR and the right, with social media, it's a world market. If you promote yourself well and you develop yourself as a driver and you can promote the brands you're working with, I don't see why we can't do it. Why we can't get Pukovitz Group or such and say, look, we've got a Namibian abroad, this is what he's doing, look, it's interest, and I want to say be famous and abuse that what you have. So that's what people are interested in, you know yourself. If you got a Lando Norris coming to you, the whole world likes speed. I am speed. If you get the same audience, it doesn't matter where you are. There will always be people trying to be close to you or part of the brands that are that you're part of. So.
And what areas do you think our drivers might still be lacking in? Specifically looking now at karting, the younger guys. What are they lacking in it when it comes to the world stage?
I think pace-wise, we're not too far off. We're about, on average, what I saw with Kiat going to the Worlds in the Rotax Worlds, we're about a half a second to a second off, which it's quite a lot in karting terms, but still we are there, we can go into the finals. What we're lacking in is racecraft, passing, how to maneuver, where to position the kart, just that raw, because we don't have the numbers in field-wise. So we don't have where if you don't do a pass correctly, we're going to lose 5 positions. That we don't have that. You maybe lose 1 position and then you fight back for it. So that's the biggest problem I have, the racecraft aspect of it. you can be fast, that's one thing. You can be fast in qualifying, but if you can't put it together in the race and think with your head, to think 2 laps ahead, or like, okay, I know I'm fast in this corner, this oak, I can pass him here, then let me wait to make a mistake, and then I do the move. We don't have that. That's a racecraft we're lacking in the country.
Mm-hmm. And last question before I let you go. Outside factors, we talk a lot about marketability of a driver. There's kind of a truth universally accepted these days in motor racing that a driver must come with their audience intact. You know, they must have a following. They must be shiny enough to be marketable. Do you think our drivers are on the back foot when it comes to that?
I think so. Like, I'm not gonna, like myself. I mean, I'm trying to develop that for myself, because 10 years ago, that's not something that we focused on as a driver. I mean, social media wasn't that big, and you see it now with the younger kids and such. That it's getting there, it's getting better, but you need to, like you said, be marketable for the corporate people and such, but still have your own personality. That makes it even better. Yeah. So I think we're lacking a bit there, but we'll get there. We just need the knowledge and, how must I say, experience from that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Adrian. No, I hope the next time you are on Lights Out, you'll tell us that we've got funding for someone, that a Popkowitz group or somebody has signed on.
Something would be very nice to do something like that, because we've got a lot of offers for the year. Mm-hmm. Like MSA, before we had a seat that was available. For the endurance racing series, we had the seats available. Now, Rico Barlin, they made the Nova prototype, which holds the Kyalami, SWAT Corps, and Kilani lap record currently. So that seat's also available, but we just don't have the funding to. I can't. Yeah, it's big bucks we're talking about here. So, but it's a big market that we're selling now. Just the Extreme Festival, there was like 1,000 online viewers just on the YouTube live stream this weekend, not just saying about the people at the track and such, and I want to develop it so that we can get a big event this year, you know, get those cars here, get the hype going at Tony Rust, and get the big corporates to see, look, here's interest in this.
Yeah, so wide open market. Thank you so much for joining us, Adrian.
Thank you.
That was Adrian Nel, former MSA F4 driver, racing driver. Give us that long CV again. Racing driver, driver coach, e-sport driver,
safety officer, where must I go, designer,
a nice shirt wearer today.
Fiance vibes, you know.
Thank you for joining us. This was Adrian Nel.
From the heart of the continent to its farthest horizons, Africa awakens with stories that shape our world. This is Africa Good Morning, your window into the pulse of a dynamic continent. I'm Ashwin Berry, here to deliver the latest news, sharp insights, and the vibrant spirit of Africa. Every weekday, we dive into the headlines, uncover untold stories, and spotlight the people driving change. Plus, stay ahead with daily weather forecasts and economic updates to navigate your week with confidence. With direct coverage from our correspondents on the ground, we bring you in-depth access to Africa's beating heart. Mondays, Mike Situla reports from Zambia.
Africa, good morning.
Tuesdays, Talent Gore covers Zimbabwe. Wednesdays, Rorisang Mokojwe brings Botswana's news. Dumela, Rorisang.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for having me right here on Africa Good Morning. It is always a pleasure to be here with you all.
Thursdays, Ari Hogarth tackles South Africa.
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin and Anna. Yes, a good atmosphere.
And Fridays, we focus on Namibia's bold narratives. From thriving cities to rugged plains, our team is there, capturing the rhythm of a continent on the rise. Africa Good Morning is your essential start. News, weather, economics, and more.
Over now to South Africa, where Kyle Lawrence takes us on a tour through the MSA4 facilities and takes a look at a 1989 Minardi F1 car.
What's up, Buttercups? Well, I'm Kyle Lawrence, and the question has been asked to me, why don't we have Africans in Formula One? Well, before I tell you why we don't have Africans in Formula One, I thought I should tell you what the pathways are and explain the pathways to you to get Africans to Formula One. And there's no better place to do that than here at DAW Racing, based in Kempton Park. All right then, welcome ladies and gents to DAW Racing. Let me take you through to what I actually want to show you while we're here. Now, the obvious first step for any budding F1 star is to go from karting to main circuit. Now, DAW Racing are I wouldn't say providers of the MSA4 engine, but they are the builders of the MSA4 engine, and this is where all that magic happens. Every single one of those VW MSA4 engines rebuilt and made ready, and the drivers then eventually come through to the spot to get them all dynoed, put onto spec, and they draw a number out of the hat, and that will be their engine for the rest of the year. Every young driver wants to race in a series where all the equipment is equal. Now, to ensure that all the equipment is equal and all the engines are running equally, this is what DAW Racing use, and this is the dyno that they use. Now, a little bit of backstory on this dyno. This exact dyno in this container was used by Garth Oberski to compete in the Formula 3 series in the UK aboard his own racing team, DAW Racing. It was then closed up, put in a shipping container, and sent here to South Africa, and that is what is used by the MSA4 series to ensure that all the engines are on the same level playing field. Right, so we have spoken about engines, but the one thing we haven't spoken about is the cars. Now, unfortunately, because we came at this day in the week, the track is already packed and left for the first national of the year with all the new MSA4s in there. But what I can talk to you about is what they were based off and what routes can be taken for a young driver to move from karting to a single-seater and start building their career. Now, historically, the step from karting was always taken into Formula Ford. Now, this in front of me is what the Formula Fords have and remain for a very long time in motorsport, through the 90s into the 2000s, and now changing to the carbon fiber monocoque, which is the FIA Formula 4. The issue with FIA Formula 4 and carbon fiber is the cost. So what has been done in Southern Africa is we've created a chrome moly tubular frame with a halo system and a 1-liter turbo motor, which creates the MSA4. But what DAW Racing does is they keep these Formula Fords running in Kent format to allow young drivers to have an interim step between karting and the MSA4. They can come and test drive, rent these cars to get themselves up to a level that's ready for the MSA4 series. Now, MSA4, as we know it in 2026, wouldn't exist without the push and the funding from one individual, and that man being Ian Schofield. He took it upon himself to get the project across the line, and he is the reason we have 15 cars going down to the first national of the year. But DAW has been involved in motorsport in South Africa for 52 years, and the concept of a Wings and Six class to help young talent cut their teeth is not a new one. And back in 1984, a Formula 4 chassis that was produced here in this workshop was converted to a Wings and Six car called Formula GTI. 12 of them were produced for the first race, and they were fitted with a 1.8 liter VW motor. So the concept and the history of that Wings and Six class has continued all the way through to MSA4, who is now also powered by a VW power plant, and allows youngsters to get in and experience what it would be like to go overseas and drive an FIA Formula 4 car. And it gives them a little bit more knowledge at a little bit lower price to give them as much experience as they possibly can get to go show what the African continent has when they travel overseas to compete against Europe. Right, ladies and gents, I've spoken about MSA4 and your first entry into single-seaters, with the end goal being Formula 1. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you any MSA4 cars. They have left for their first national of the year down in Cape Town. But what I can show you is a 1989 M189 Minardi F1 car. Now, this car was driven by Pierluigi Martini in that year's F1 championship, its highest finish being 5th at the French Grand Prix, just highlighting in those years what a team with limited budget could do in an F1 championship. Now, this is from 1989, and already the technology in this car is absolutely insane. Carbon fiber monocoque construction, all sorts of bits and pieces in terms of aero, computer boxes, and of course, the famous Cosworth V8 that these cars used in that era. Well, to conclude our video, I thought it fitting to end it here where DAW Racing also produce, and Universal Products also produce their Porsche replica based on a Beetle frame, but with a fiberglass Porsche body. And I really hope that you guys learned a lot about the history in motorsport, South African motorsports particularly, and African motorsport, what DAW Racing and Investchem have done for youngsters throughout their history in South African motorsports, and what they continue to do to help youngsters make that step from karting into single-seaters and hopefully to the end goal of Formula One. So I hope you guys have enjoyed listening, watching, and learning from myself, Carl Lawrence. That'll be all.
And the checkered flag falls on another episode of Lights Out. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can catch Lights Out every Friday at 5:30 p.m. on network television, DSTV 285 and GoTV 25 in Namibia, as well as oneup2.com. But until next week, drive it like you stole it.